everyone, Horrified Satan here. Now, I've been a huge fan of anime shows and anime games in general for the longest time. Though living in the UK, not a huge amount of games and animes made it over here growing up. One of the animes I did enjoy was Bleach, and when Bandai announced a new Bleach title, it was a nice surprise. I remember the Dynasty Warriors style title on the PlayStation 3, so when they announced a 3D arena fighter, I got a little bit excited. With the game now out on all major platforms, I'd love for you to hear my thoughts on multiple different parts of this fantastic title. I was also hoping that it would be more of a 2D fighter, like the old Naruto games were on the PS2, but I know a lot of people nowadays much prefer the 3D arena fighters. But as we get into it, it's not your traditional 3D arena fighter. Now, this was advertised as a 3D arena fighter, and it does have the look of a traditional anime fighting game, but I feel like it has its own feel that is more like a traditional fighting game than a normal fighting arena fighter. This can be both good and a bad thing. This issue is the movement can often feel sluggish, like inputs aren't registering, especially if things like sidestepping. But the internet is already coming up with all new crazy ways to play each character. One major thing, and why I'm happy the roster isn't crazy big, but it is still pretty big, but not Sparking Zero levels. The benefits of the slightly smaller size is the characters feel more unique and play like you would expect them to play if you're watching an actual anime. A lot of games have the issue of making characters feel like copies of each other, but even each Ichigo feels slightly different than the previous one. And there are a couple of Ichigos in the main story that you play through that actually, again, play completely different than the ones that you have on the main roster. The practice mode also has a ton of different features for learning each different character, and I would recommend jumping into the training mode and then the practice mode if you do want to go online. You can see your inputs, can customize your enemy stance, fighting, etc. It's a perfect way to practice different combinations. I will admit, I've not currently been in the story mode, and I've been uploading the videos on this channel. If you haven't watched one of them, please go check them out. Anyway, I will add my thoughts on this. I think the amount of cutscenes was one of the biggest shocks for me. Some of them do not have the best quality overall, but it's nice to have to see in this game. I guess from the start of Bleach all the way to the end of the fake Kurakura arc. The anime cutscenes do clash a bit with the in-game cutscenes, and some of the models are kind of awkward. I know I joked about the poop face looking on at some point, and some of them just look like they're shocked for no reason at all in the background. And some of the models just aren't really great. If you are not a fan of the cutscenes, it is possible to skip them. The story mode does seem incredibly long, and if you are able to play as several different characters throughout the story, Game first made it seem like these are optional, but you need to play them to continue on with the story. I do like this over the Sparking Zero, because the fact that Sparking Zero had several characters. The issue with the Sparking Zero content was the fact that you had to select each character to play through the story. Well, this goes through in one linear, it goes through one path of the story. You go through the entire arc, basically. The issue with Sparking Zero is the fact that you have played a little bit of Goku. It skipped like 5 arcs, and then you played Goku again, and it just didn't feel cohesive. I've got to give credit to the story mode. There is an extra side story mode in this game, but some other offline PvE content would have been nice. Perhaps a survival mode in which you fight a set amount of enemies, such as the Goatee 13 in a row, to see if you can survive. Tournament mode for offline split screen would have been nice too. I'll be honest, apart from a content creator event that I was a part of, I haven't really experienced much of the online mode. It seems to be very bare bones online, with a possible ranked mode added in the future. I would love to see more content added for this, such as a tournament style mode. And of course, adding crossplay will help the online last much longer than being stuck on a single platform. A lot of fighting games nowadays really do need the ability to play with Microsoft Xbox, PC and PlayStation, and possibly Switch too if it gets released on that. But I'm not going to lie, I don't really have that much experience with online fighting, as I often play these games for the story or PvE elements. It's why I go back to Xenoverse 2 occasionally still, even now. But yeah, I would recommend to keep an eye out if you are a serious online competitive player. There is a lot of balance issues, which they are slowly fixing, at least in the recent patch notes. But yeah, currently there is no ranked, and the online features are very limited. At the end of the day, most people will be purchasing this for the online mode. In that case, it's missing some features that I'd like to see added in the future. There seems to be a ranked mode on the way, but I'd like to see a proper tournament mode added for both online and offline. Story mode could have been improved with some slight increase of polish for cutscenes, but I'm happy that we got as much story as we did. There's also some unique story content for this game. Also, certain characters that appear in the story would have been nice to be playable in the roster. Hopefully they get added in the future. If you're a huge fan of Bleach, this game may be worth buying. but for general fighting fans, you may want to skip it, at least until it's discounted, and maybe some more patches. So overall, I feel like this is an 8 out of 10 for those that are a huge fan of Bleach. But if you're a fighting game general, I would maybe say a 6 out of 10, and that's pushing it. And that's due to the lack of ranked mode. But the training mode will definitely make you feel happy and at home because of how in-depth you can go with the training functions. So yeah, for now, I would suggest if you're not a fan of Bleach or anime games in general, it's either a skip or a wait until heavily discounted. And I hate to be mean, but because it's a Namco game, there's a huge chance this will probably be discounted by summer. Hell, by the time this review is out, there's probably a discount. Nah, I don't think so. But still, there's probably... Anyway, that ruined my chance of ever getting a review copy of this game. Or any Namco game. Anyway, so 6 out of 10 if you're just a general fighting fan. But if you're a fan of Bleach and you want to live through the story again up to the Thousand Blood Year War, because technically that isn't included, up to the Karakura town, which is the end of the original Bleach. It would have been nice to have seen some Fullbringers, but maybe that'll be added in the future. Maybe as a DLC expansion pack. Who knows? Anyway, now I'm rambling. I'm now completely off script. Thank you, everyone. If you enjoyed this review, please leave a like and a comment down below. Until next time, this has been Holified Sane Gaming. Bye.